Picture this. A man abandons his newborn son because a fortune teller says the baby is cursed. 15 years later, he brings that boy back. Not to apologize, not to make things right, but to harvest his kidney and throw him away again. What happens next? Let me tell you, karma doesn't forget. It just waits for the perfect moment to strike. This is a true story about superstition, greed, and how the universe has a way of making things right. Stay with me on this one, because the ending, you won't see it coming. Singapore, 2009. Richard Tan is sitting in one of the most expensive hospitals in the city. His wife just gave birth to a healthy baby boy. But Richard isn't celebrating. He's terrified. 3 days before the delivery, he'd gone to see Master Wong, this famous feng shui expert that all the wealthy families consulted. Master Wong did what he always did, examined birth charts, ancestral patterns, all that traditional stuff. Then his face went pale. "Mr. Tan," he said slowly, "this child is born under the Shadow Phoenix constellation. Do you know what that means?" Richard shook his head. "It means he will destroy everything you love. Financial ruin, family tragedy, early death for those closest to him. This isn't superstition. This is fate." Now here's the thing. Richard Tan owned 3 luxury car dealerships. He lived in a penthouse overlooking the city. He considered himself modern, educated, way too smart to believe in this stuff. But his father had followed these traditions. His grandfather before that. Some beliefs, they run deeper than logic. So that night, Richard made a choice that would haunt 2 lives forever. He told his wife the baby died during delivery. He paid the hospital administrator an absolutely insane amount of money to keep quiet. And he arranged for the infant, this perfect, healthy baby, to be abandoned at a Buddhist temple in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Singapore. He never even held his son. The monk who found the baby named him Alex. And Alex grew up never knowing that somewhere across the city, in a world of marble floors and designer clothes, lived the man who threw him away. Alex's earliest memory is of Sister Margaret's hands, wrinkled, scarred from chemicals, always moving, cleaning, cooking, working. Sister Margaret was 65 when she found Alex at the temple. She was a retired social worker who'd never had kids of her own. She took one look at this abandoned baby and said, "Well, I guess you're mine now." They lived in a one-room apartment in Toa Payoh, one of Singapore's working-class neighborhoods. Sister Margaret worked as a cleaner at shopping malls. $8 an hour. Scrubbing toilets. Mopping floors. Her arthritis was so bad some days she could barely hold her mop. But every single night, no matter how exhausted she was, she'd sit with Alex at their tiny folding table and help him with homework. "You're smarter than all of them," she'd tell him, pointing out the window at the expensive condos in the distance. "Book smart and heart smart. That's a combination they'll never have." School was brutal for Alex. While other kids showed up in designer uniforms and talked about family trips to Europe, Alex wore the same 2 shirts on rotation. Hand-me-downs from the charity bin. His classmates called him Charity Case. This one kid, Timothy, was especially cruel, knocking books off Alex's desk, organizing the other kids to exclude him from group projects, making fun of his worn-out shoes. But Alex, he studied like his life depended on it, because it did. By age 15, he'd won every academic award his school offered. Math, science, English, he dominated everything. He taught himself coding by watching free YouTube tutorials at the library. He had this big dream, win the Singapore National Science Competition, get a full scholarship to university, and finally give Sister Margaret the life she deserved. Then Richard Tan walked back into his life. October 2024. Alex is walking home from school when this black Mercedes S-Class pulls up next to him. The window rolls down, and this well-dressed man in his 50s just stares at him. "Alex from Toa Payoh Secondary," the man asks. "Yeah. I'm Richard Tan. I'm your biological father." Time just stops. Sister Margaret had always told Alex his parents were too young and poor to keep him. She made them sound almost noble in their tragedy. But this man, he looked like he owned half of Singapore. Richard doesn't waste time with emotional reunions or tearful apologies. He explains the situation like it's a business transaction. 5 years after abandoning Alex, Richard and his wife Eleanor adopted a son named Nathan. Nathan is now 17 and dying from kidney failure. The doctors ran tests and said a biological relative would be the best match for a transplant. Richard had the money and resources to track Alex down, even after 15 years. "Donate your kidney to Nathan," Richard says, "and I'll give you everything. Private school, university, anywhere in the world. And Sister Margaret? She'll never have to work another day. I'll buy her a condo. Full medical coverage. Everything." Alex's hands are shaking. He's thinking about Sister Margaret's swollen feet, her chronic back pain, the way she hides the electricity bill when it's too high, pretending everything's fine. "I need to think about it," Alex says. But they both know he's already decided. The Tan family mansion in Sentosa Cove is like something from a movie. floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. An infinity pool. Art on the walls that costs more than Sister Margaret earned in her entire life. But the moment Alex walks in, he knows this isn't a home. It's a showroom. Eleanor, Richard's wife, looks at Alex like he's a stain on her expensive furniture. And Nathan. Nathan is this handsome 17-year-old kid who's been sick his whole life, and he's treated like royalty because of it. He's sitting in this designer wheelchair, and the first thing he says to Alex is, "So you're the biological mistake. Dad had to dumpster dive to save me." The whole table laughs. Except Alex. Richard enrolled Alex at Raffles Institution, this elite private school where the other students are children of politicians and CEOs. They mock his Toa Peo accent. They whisper when he walks by. At dinner parties at the mansion, people make jokes about teaching him which fork to use. Eleanor's friends laugh like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. One time, Nathan deliberately spilled red wine on Alex's school uniform and told the principal Alex had been drinking. Alex got suspended for 3 days. When he tried to tell Richard what really happened, his father just waved him away. Nathan's going through a medical crisis. Don't make trouble. Meanwhile, the medical testing is intense. Blood work, CT scans, psychological evaluations. During one session, the transplant psychologist, Dr. Sharma, looks Alex in the eye and asks, "Do you feel pressured to donate?" Alex thinks about Sister Margaret. About the small condo Richard already bought her in a nice neighborhood. About the health insurance card she now carries in her wallet like it's made of gold. "No," Alex lies. "I want to help my brother." But Nathan isn't his brother. Not in any way that actually matters. The surgery gets scheduled for December 15, 2024. The operation takes 7 hours. When Alex wakes up, the pain is unreal. Even with all the medication, it feels like his entire abdomen is on fire. There are tubes coming out of his side, bandages wrapped around his torso. And the first face he sees isn't Richard. It's not Eleanor. It's Sister Margaret. She took 3 buses across the city to get to the hospital. She's holding his hand and crying, telling him how brave he is, how proud she is. For just a moment, in that sterile hospital room, Alex feels loved. Nathan's recovery is fast. Like, incredibly fast. Within a week, the kid is posting on Instagram about his miraculous survival, thanking God but never once mentioning Alex. The posts get thousands of likes. Nathan's talking about all the things he's going to do now that he's healthy. Travel, parties, getting a sports car. Alex's recovery? Not so smooth. He develops a serious infection. The doctors have to keep him in the hospital for 3 extra weeks. Richard visits twice. Eleanor never shows up at all. When Alex is finally discharged in late January, he goes back to the mansion expecting, I don't know, maybe his room? Some recognition that he just gave up part of his body? Instead, he finds all his belongings packed in boxes in the garage. The housekeeper won't even look at him when she explains, "Your room's been converted into Mrs. Tan's yoga studio. Mr. Tan said you'd stay in the annex." The annex. That's what they call it. It's basically a storage shed behind the pool house. Concrete floor. A camp bed. No air conditioning. In Singapore, where it's like 90 degrees with 100% humidity every single day. That's when Alex understands the truth. He was never family. He was livestock, kept until the useful parts were harvested. But here's what Richard doesn't know. Before the surgery, back when Alex was still living with Sister Margaret and dreaming about his future, he submitted an application to the Singapore National Science Competition. This is the biggest academic competition in the country. The kind of thing that can change your entire life. His project was this elegant AI algorithm that could predict kidney rejection in transplant patients. It analyzed hundreds of biological markers in real time and could warn doctors about problems before they became critical. He built the whole thing using free online tools and public medical databases, working late nights at the library. In February, while Alex is recovering in that concrete shed, barely able to walk without pain shooting through his side, a letter arrives. He made it to the national finals. Top 10 students in all of Singapore. The finals are in March. The winner gets a full scholarship to MIT, Cambridge, or the National University of Singapore. Full ride. Everything paid. Alex doesn't tell Richard. He doesn't tell Eleanor or Nathan. He works on his presentation between waves of post-surgical pain, refining his algorithm, practicing his pitch over and over in that hot little shed. Meanwhile, Nathan is spiraling. See, the kidney is working perfectly. But Nathan has spent his entire life being sick, being coddled, being excused from every consequence because of his medical condition. Now that he's healthy, he doesn't know who he is. He has no identity, no purpose. So he starts getting drunk at clubs, crashing Richard's cars, picking fights, getting into trouble. One night in March, Nathan stumbles home at 3 in the morning and finds Alex working on his laptop in the annex. Still here. Nathan slurs. "Thought you'd have crawled back to your slum by now." "I'm working on something," Alex says quietly. "Working? Nathan laughs. You're a spare parts catalog. You don't work. You just exist until someone needs to strip you down for parts. Alex looks up at this kid, this boy who got everything including Alex's own organ, and sees something he didn't expect. Not cruelty. Emptiness. Is that what you think you are? Alex asks. A collection of your father's purchases? Nathan's face twists. He kicks over Alex's laptop and storms out. The screen cracks. But Alex had backed everything up to the cloud. He'd learned a long time ago to prepare for disaster. March 25, 2025. The Singapore National Science Competition Finals are at the Suntec Convention Center. 300 people in the audience. Judges from major universities. Media coverage. This is the real deal. Alex is backstage in his one good shirt, the one Sister Margaret ironed so carefully that morning. His surgical scar still aches. But he's ready. Richard has no idea Alex is competing. Nathan has no idea. Eleanor has no idea. But Sister Margaret is sitting in the third row, crying before Alex even walks on stage. When Alex steps up to that microphone, something incredible happens. All those years of being mocked, all the pain, all those nights studying by dim light while rich kids partied, it all crystallizes into perfect clarity. He explains his algorithm with passion and precision. He shows how it can save lives, how it can predict rejection patterns that current methods completely miss. He demonstrates it with real data, including analysis he'd secretly run on Nathan's own post-transplant markers, though he doesn't mention that part. When he finishes, there's this moment of complete silence. Then the judges start clapping. Then the audience. Then everyone. Alex wins. Full scholarship to MIT. $50,000 in development funding for his algorithm. Media interviews. Everything. The award ceremony makes the evening news. Richard Tan is having dinner with business partners when his phone absolutely explodes. Message after message. Saw your son on TV. Such a brilliant young man. You must be so proud. He has no idea what they're talking about. He rushes home and finds Eleanor watching the news coverage on their giant TV. Alex's face fills the screen as the reporter talks about this inspiring story of a student from humble beginnings who overcame poverty and major surgery to win Singapore's most prestigious science award. That's the kidney donor, Eleanor whispers. That's my son, Richard says, and the words feel strange in his mouth. Foreign. For the first time in 15 years, Richard Tan feels something he'd forgotten existed. Shame. He walks out to the annex. Alex is packing his few belongings. I saw the news, Richard says. I'm leaving tomorrow, Alex replies without looking up. MIT's scholarship includes housing. Sister Margaret's taken care of. I don't need anything from you. Alex, You want to know why Master Wong said I was cursed? Alex interrupts, finally meeting his eyes. I figured it out. I'm not the curse, Mr. Tan. I'm the mirror. I reflect back what people put into the world. Richard feels his throat tighten. You abandoned me because you were afraid I'd destroy your family, Alex continues. But your family was already hollow. I just made you see it. And in that moment, Richard realizes the horrible truth. His marriage to Eleanor is loveless. A transaction. His relationship with Nathan is superficial. His businesses are successful, but his life is empty. He spent 15 years running from a prophecy while fulfilling it with his own hands. I'm sorry, Richard says, and even to him, the words sound pathetic. Sorry doesn't give me back my kidney, Alex says. Sorry doesn't give me back 15 years. But I'll tell you what you can do. Alex lays out his conditions. Not demands. Terms. First, Richard sets up a charitable foundation with $5 million. It'll be dedicated to providing scholarships for low-income students. It'll be called the Sister Margaret Education Fund. Alex will manage it remotely from MIT. Second, Richard publicly acknowledges Alex as his biological son and explains the abandonment. The whole truth. The family's reputation will take a massive hit, but truth has a price. Third, Nathan attends mandatory therapy. The kidney was a gift, not an entitlement. Richard agrees to everything. But the universe had its own plans. 2 weeks after Alex leaves for MIT, Nathan is speeding drunk in his new Porsche. He's texting while driving, going way too fast on the East Coast Parkway. He loses control and slams into a concrete barrier. He survives. Barely. Multiple fractures, internal injuries, and damage to the kidney. The irony is absolutely brutal. The kidney that Alex gave him, the kidney that was supposed to save Nathan's life, it's damaged from the impact. It's not failing yet, but Dr. Sharma warns that Nathan will need to be extremely careful for the rest of his life. No drinking, no drugs, constant monitoring. One mistake and he could lose it. Nathan is suddenly forced to live with the kind of restrictions and fear he'd mocked in others. Every pill he takes, he thinks of Alex. Every doctor's appointment, he remembers the boy he tormented. Every moment of pain, He feels the weight of what was given to him and how carelessly he treated it. Meanwhile, Richard watches his world crumble in slow motion. Not financially, the businesses stay profitable. But his social circle evaporates when the truth about Alex comes out. The friends who laughed at his jokes stop calling. The business partners who sought his advice go elsewhere. People look at him differently now. Like he's contaminated. Eleanor leaves him 6 months later, taking half his assets in the divorce. She'd never forgiven him for the 15-year lie. Richard finds himself alone in that massive Sentosa mansion, surrounded by expensive art and crushing silence, finally understanding what loneliness truly means. The curse came true. Just not the way anyone expected. 2030. 5 years have passed. Alex graduates from MIT with honors. His algorithm gets bought by a major medical technology company for 8 figures. Actual 8 figures. He uses a big chunk of that money to expand the Sister Margaret Education Fund. It now provides scholarships to 200 students every year. Sister Margaret is 75 now, retired and happy. She spends her days volunteering at the same temple where Alex was found as a baby. She plants a garden there, flowers and vegetables that feed the whole neighborhood. And Nathan finishes therapy and slowly, painfully, becomes someone different. He's not good, exactly. Redemption would be too easy. But he's conscious now, aware. He can't undo his cruelty, but he can choose not to continue it. He starts working with the foundation, mentoring at-risk youth. It's not redemption. It's the beginning of accountability. Richard sells the Sentosa mansion. He moves into a modest apartment in Tiong Bahru. He volunteers at the foundation 3 days a week, reading scholarship applications from students who remind him of the son he threw away. One afternoon, he's sorting through essays and comes across an application from this brilliant 15-year-old kid from a single-parent household in Toa Payoh. The essay begins, "My mother always told me that where you come from doesn't determine where you're going." Richard approves the scholarship personally, signs it himself. He knows he'll never be forgiven. Alex has been polite but distant the few times they've spoken. Their relationship is professional, transactional, which is fitting, given how Richard treated him. But Richard has learned something Master Wong never told him. The real curse wasn't in the stars. It was in the choices. On a humid Singapore evening, Sister Margaret passes away peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by flowers from her garden. At her funeral, over 300 people show up. Former students. Volunteers. People whose lives she touched with small acts of kindness that meant everything. Alex gives the eulogy. Richard sits in the back row, uninvited but not turned away. "She taught me that family isn't about blood," Alex says, his voice steady and clear. "It's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you when you're not useful, when you can't offer anything except the weight of your existence." His eyes find Richard in the crowd. Some people wait until it's too late to learn that lesson. Some people never learn it at all. And some people, like Sister Margaret, are born knowing it. After the service, Richard approaches Alex for the first time in 2 years. "Thank you for letting me attend," Richard says quietly. "She would have wanted it," Alex replies. "She believed in second chances, even for people who didn't deserve them." "Do you?" Richard asks. "Believe in second chances?" Alex is quiet for a long moment. The humidity hangs heavy in the air. Then he says something that will stay with Richard forever. "I believe in consequences. I believe people show you who they are, and you should believe them. You showed me who you were when I was a baby. You showed me again when I was 15. Those weren't mistakes, Mr. Tan. Those were choices." He pauses, then adds, "But I also believe that shame can be transformative if you let it. You can't undo what you did. You can't make me forget. But you can spend the rest of your life being someone different than the man who made those choices. That's not my second chance to give you. That's yours to earn." Richard nods slowly, understanding that this is as close to peace as they'll ever get. As Alex walks away to join the other mourners, Richard stands alone in the Singapore heat, holding the funeral program with Sister Margaret's photo on the cover. And he realizes something. Master Wong was wrong about one thing. Alex wasn't cursed to bring misfortune. He was blessed to reveal truth. And sometimes, the truth is the most devastating fortune of all. So here's what I want you to think about. The fortune teller said the child would destroy the family. And he was right. But not because of any cosmic curse. Not because the stars aligned wrong or some ancient prophecy kicked in. Because when you abandon someone out of fear, when you use them for their parts, when you treat human beings like objects, you don't need astrology to predict what happens next. You've already written your own ending. Alex didn't seek revenge. He didn't have to. He simply lived well, succeeded publicly, and became everything Richard feared losing. The cruelest punishment for a hollow man isn't suffering. It's watching someone you threw away become whole without you. That's not superstition. That's just truth. And truth doesn't need to be served cold like revenge. It just needs to be witnessed. Richard Tan spent 15 years afraid of a curse that didn't exist, and in running from it, he created the exact destruction he feared. Not through magic. Through choice. Every time he looked at Alex and saw a tool instead of a son, he carved away another piece of his own humanity. Every time Nathan mocked the boy who saved his life, he poisoned his own future. Every time Eleanor looked the other way, she signed the papers on her empty marriage. The Shadow Phoenix constellation didn't destroy that family. They destroyed themselves. And Alex, he just held up a mirror. If that's a curse, then maybe we all need to check what stars we're actually running from. Because the most dangerous superstitions aren't about fate or destiny. They're the lies we tell ourselves to justify the things we know are wrong. Richard believed a story about cursed stars so he wouldn't have to face the truth. He was just a coward who chose comfort over his own child. What stories are you telling yourself? What mirrors are you avoiding? Because karma isn't mystical. It's not supernatural. It's just the long-term consequences of short-term choices, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to show you exactly who you've been all along. Alex proved that where you come from doesn't determine where you're going. Richard proved that where you're going is determined entirely by what you do along the way. The stars had nothing to do with it. They never did.